Hey everybody, welcome to the Sky Lounge, and this is Piggyskin Picks, where I pick the winners and losers of the upcoming NFL weekend and week number 13, boys and girls. 12 out of 15 in the pick'ems, sitting at 80%. Hot damn! Feeling good about that shit. And we want to keep these good feels rolling into week 14. So we kick off with some Thursday night football tomorrow between the New England Patriots and the LA Rams. And I get a feeling the Rams will win this game, but the Patriots cover at +5 and the game goes under at 45.5. Simple reason why. Both quarterbacks kind of suck right now. Jared Goff has constantly been ass, and over the last few years, Cam Newton hasn't been trending in the right direction. He's been kind of depreciating all around, and lo and behold, kind of continuing that trend this season. And yeah, he beat the shit out of the Chargers with, the entire Belichick mind just dumping on down. But honestly, I don't see a way for this Patriots team to beat a pretty stacked Rams team, other than Jared Goff, who honestly feels like a black hole on offense at times. But your running game's solid. Your defense is pretty fantastic for the Rams, and I think all of those things combined really kind of suppresses any chance for the Patriots to win this game. Now, if some way, somehow, Bill Belichick pulls out a fucking win out of his ass and he goes 8-8 in the season, you really can't fucking sit there and tell me that Bill Belichick didn't just pull off the greatest season in his career. But, narratives won't allow that, right? Because Tom Brady won the divorce, right? Retards who say that shit just blows my goddamn mind. But I think the Rams go ahead and get to win here, but probably don't cover the spread because you got Jared Goff as a quarterback. So, fun times for Thursday night football ahead. And so that brings us into some Sunday games. And we start off with the Tennessee Titans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And yeah, I think the Titans go ahead and win this game, cover the spread at -7.5, and the under at 53 seems pretty reasonable here, mainly because I don't really trust the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. I don't. And generally speaking, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been playing these really close games, but between division rivals and just playing however many times, you could potentially play an opponent in a season, 3, technically. I get a feeling that, familiarity aside, the Tennessee Titans are, I think, more, what's the best way to say it? Complete to get the job done. And more than likely, in my mind, cover the spread. And yeah, honestly, at this point with the Titans, there's not a lot you could say about them unless they have a horrendous game against the Jaguars. But you're a top tier team, but sometimes you have brain farts. That's your whole deal. So don't fart out this game. Finish up, tighten up, and get it done. Terrible puns aside, let's move on into the next game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. And listen, Cowboys, I know there's this whole false hope and notion that you can potentially get to the playoffs. Toss that shit aside. Stop it. Your division, as bad as it is, has clear, and I mean clear, good teams. Clearly good teams. In the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants, not the fucking Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. You two teams are goddamn bottom feeders. But with that said, and pretty much stating out that Cowboys don't really need to win, I think they grab a win here pretty easily. Why? Because the Bengals are fucking intentionally tanking again. Joe Burrow goes down. Cool, we're gonna tank again. Oh, you're going for a top 3 pick. Of course you are. You do need to protect Joe Burrow, but, when you are going against an actively tanking team, shit can go awry, of course, but generally speaking, with the personnel that you got, you should win, Cowboys. But I've seen crazier shit happen throughout the season. So, yeah. I don't know if the Cowboys will cover that -3.5 spread and the game goes under 43.5, but it seems more than likely just because of the way the Bengals are handling themselves with this whole tank part 2. Good deal. I mean, not great, good deal, but still a game that we're going to watch. Good times. Good times. But what's definitely going to be a good time is the Denver Broncos taking on the Carolina Panthers. And yeah, of course, I mean, in the Denver Broncos, there's really not much to fight for unless, top draft position. But in my mind, I think you're going to have a pretty good battle between these two teams. And there wasn't any spread or totals that I could look into in this game. But I get a feeling, if anything, you're going to have a pretty low-scoring game, probably like a 24-21 sort of deal, where you would think, Matt Rule's young squad led by Teddy Bridgewater and Jeremy Chin on the defensive side gets shit done and just wins a close and grimy game against the damn near broken fucking Broncos. And all you can hope for with this Broncos team is that, hey, the young guys show up for the rest of the season and that everybody that's injured comes back healthy next season. I mean, shout out to Von Miller, who had that fucking scar. I think it's his ACL or Achilles. I forget. But he has a scar on his leg, and he actually got a Joker tattoo. And so you would think that, oh boy, Von Miller's going to go off for revenge season. And so for the Denver Broncos, it's all about getting a decent draft position at this point and hoping the young guys just ball out with not a lot to play for, but that's all you can really do at this point. And, maybe Vic Fangio can get better next season. I don't fucking know. But for the Broncos, not much to play for the, the Panthers. It's kind of in similar vein, but because of their relative positive trajectory, I mean, they have a lot more to play for in that sense. So I think the Panthers grabbed that win. And so, just a fun little affair between two growing teams. And so good times are ahead. And definitely good times ahead for these two middling teams. Let's be fair. They're both shit. All right, the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. Reason why I say you're both shit is because, here's the thing. The Houston Texans, you're shit because Bill O'Brien was there way too long and you fucked your own team for at least half a decade at this point. And the fact that I'm picking you to win this game, obviously cover the spread at -1 and having the game go over at 45, honestly doesn't really justify nor, gloss over any of the fucking dumpster fire ridiculousness that was the season. I mean, the body language of the Houston Texans players last week in week 13 was pretty bad. I mean, you have J.J. Watt on the sideline just laughing his ass off at the fucking clown show that is this team. And Deshaun Watson with the towel over his head. And, I think it was T.Y. Hilton who had to come over and, pat him on the back. You just begin to feel that this Texans team, no matter what they do this season, it just does not matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, you could win these games, sure, but your team is fucked. So you're a dumpster fire. And in the Chicago Bears side, holy fuck, dude. 5-1. The luckiest start you could possibly get, by the way, because if you look at those individual games, the Chicago Bears were absolute ass and they looked themselves into wins. And now they're sitting at potentially, sub 500. And you're going to try out Mitch Trubisky there again? God. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. You need to get some actual quarterbacks there. Not Mitch Trubisky, not Big Dick Nick. I don't know who else you got down there. Is it Chase Daniels? No, he's probably down there in Detroit. I don't give a fuck. But that kind of apathy starts from the top. I mean, I'm just a fucking non-fan pointing out your bullshit, but man, when the executives don't really see the bullshit and just kind of go with status quo, there's a fucking problem. But they won't realize that, and Bears fans have to deal with just this just this violent level of mediocrity, which, yeah, good luck. Good luck next season when you're going to have players who are frustrated and wants to leave. And looking back at it now, that Khalil Mack trade, Raiders seem like they're the beneficiaries of that shit, not the Bears. So, yikes. Yikes. Let's move on into the next game before I just laugh more at the misery of the Bears. The Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on the Miami Dolphins in Miami. And I got to think that despite the Chiefs winning this game, I think the Miami Dolphins surprise the world, covers the spread at +7, and the game goes over at 49.5. Now, Tua hasn't been all too hot. Rookie. Understandable. Now, relative to Tua, everything else in this team for the Miami Dolphins has been clicking. They've been really solid. And I think it's because of that. And despite the Kansas City Chiefs having Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid's brain, you're going to have moments in this game where I think the Dolphins will be popping up and just questioning people's confidence in the Kansas City Chiefs. But ultimately, I do believe the Chiefs come out of this with the win, but probably a late-minute grab, I would think in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes, dancing magic, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, popping that shit up, and probably Travis Kelce just bullying somebody in the end zone to get a game-winning touchdown. That's what I feel like is going to happen. But who the hell knows? Maybe Kansas City comes out and completely dominates out. But as of late, they haven't really been, too great with the spread in terms of the numbers. And I would think, this again, despite the Chiefs winning, you're going to see the Miami Dolphins show out really well. And I mean, that is a huge testament to Brian Flores and this entire, coaching staff for the Miami Dolphins who really turned things around. I mean, you got to realize when you look back at the Miami Dolphins and compare it to the days of Adam Gase, holy hell, this team actually looks like it's going to stick around and be constant, playoff irritants in the AFC. So best of luck to the Miami Dolphins, but ultimately, again, I think the Chiefs grab a win there. Now, moving on to the next game where we have a very interesting matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. I'm going to say the Cardinals win this game. And again, there's certain games because it's still pretty early in the week on Wednesday. We don't have, the actual numbers and the spread and whatnot. But if I had to guess a number in this game, I would think the Cardinals win, I want to say 17-10. Reason why? Yes, I understand that the Giants just beat the shit out of the Seahawks. And it's because of that and understanding how the Cardinals operate that I feel like I have a good perspective on what can happen. Now, I say 17-10. Or did I say 19-10? Doesn't fucking matter. It's going to be a very low-scoring game where the Cardinals probably win by more than a touchdown. But it comes down to Colt McCoy going against that defense, that Arizona Cardinals defense, which, I mean, compared to the fucking Seahawks, they're an actual competent defense, the Arizona Cardinals. So I think that aspect of the Cardinals game is going to really suppress any sort of firepower the Giants can have on the offensive side of the ball. But the defensive side of the ball for the Giants, this is going to be a curious one because I think they could really suppress down DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. But again, ultimately, I think between Kenyon Drake and, that O-line for the Cardinals, doing decent enough, I think gets them through the finish line. And again, I think defense is going to come up clutch for the Arizona Cardinals. And you're going to see a very interesting game. Probably a low-scoring, not for everybody who's into the fucking 45-40 kinds of game. But I think this is going to be a good throwback to old school, grimy, gritty football. And again, as a Seahawks fan, I should hate the Cardinals. But I love their potential this season. I love watching Kyler Murray just game out. He's absolutely fantastic to watch. And so the Cardinals, I think, are going to put on a firework and go ahead and grab a win against the Giants, who, honestly, man, who the fuck saw this coming the way the Giants have been playing? But, I think they can keep it up. And, maybe they come up with an upset. Who the hell knows? They are playing at home in the Meadowlands, in New Jersey. And maybe off of the vibes of winning these gritty games, on the road. I mean, you beat the Seahawks, who are, unbeaten at home. And so I think good vibes are there in the Giants, but I think in the end, the Cardinals grab a win. Now, moving on to the next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm going to say it! Upset alert! Upset alert. I think the Minnesota Vikings grab a win, cover the plus 6.5 spread, and the game goes under at 51.5. Why? Bucs aren't good enough, man. They're coming off the bye week. I understand that, but I do not trust this Bucs team. I don't trust its 2017 Pro Bowl roster that the Bucs assembled. I don't trust Tom Brady at this moment. I honestly don't. And it's not to take away from his GOAT status. I hate that shit. Just because you have one bad season doesn't erase the 20-some-odd seasons of greatness that Tom Brady has exhibited. So that frustrates me to no end. But simultaneously, I will be honest and say, Tom Brady hasn't been really all that good this season. Yeah, he's been pretty fucking mediocre. And with this Vikings defense, I think coming into its own in the latter half of this season, and Dalvin Cook honestly playing like an MVP player who I would say, again, and I've said this for a while, if the Vikings make it to the playoffs, Dalvin Cook should absolutely win MVP. I don't want to hear Aaron Rodgers' name. I don't want to hear Russell Wilson's name. I don't even want to fucking hear Patrick Mahomes' name. If the Minnesota Vikings make it to the NFL playoffs, to the NFC fucking wild card, man, I would tell you Dalvin Cook is the MVP, a la Adrian Peterson, a la Shaw Alexander. So, in my mind, with all of that, with all the confluences of what the fucking Vikings have been doing, I think they grab a win. Not an easy win, mind you, but I think the Vikings grab a bitch slap win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Bruce Arians and the boys. I've said this. I think they go 9-7 on the season and probably miss the playoffs. And this might be the game, boys and girls. This might be the actual game to see who goes down into the playoffs in the wild card. The Minnesota Vikings or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My money is on the Vikings. And yes, I've actually put this as part of a 14 parlay for this upcoming week, because I'm going back into the gambling. Just 3 bets this week, boys and girls. Nothing too fancy, but feeling good. Because, the pick'ems was pretty solid, yet I think losing, as a team supporter, I think losing really helps with the clarity. And the Giants kicking the Seattle Seahawks ass really helped me just emotionally brush off all the gunk in that sense. And to me, when the Seahawks are going to be hosting the New York Football Giants, they hosted the Football Giants last week. You're talking about the Jets, you fucking retard. I fuck up a lot, boys and girls. That's what happens. When I try to link up too much words into the next shit, this kind of shit happens. But all of this is to say that, listen, I'm going back into the bets. Obviously, I don't bet on my own teams, but I think the weird nature of getting all the pick'ems are pretty damn solid, and the Seahawks just getting fucking embarrassed made me see straight. And I think, bets aside, I think these picks are good, and I'm very confident about this pick with the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks win, but the Jets cover the spread at plus 13.5. Utterly ridiculous number that the Seahawks will not cover. Period. They will not cover that fucking number. Because, why? Have you watched the Seahawks over the last few weeks? Have you watched the Seahawks throughout the entire season? Their defense is laughable at best. And the Jets, they've been playing pretty well. Sam Darnold, playing out like a real quarterback. And I think despite the fact that Jamal Adams is pumped up about a revenge game, I think this defense is going to look laughable again. And, decent moments aside from, anyone from, Dunlap to, I don't know, DJ Reed to Bobby or I guess Jamal or Shaq. I have no confidence in the Seahawks defense to cover the spread at all. I mean, minus 13.5 is a giant trap. And no matter how bad the Jets have been with their 0 and whatever fucking record, they've been playing out. And this is what frustrates me about watching these numbers and lines. Like, okay, cool. This is based on observation and averages, but when you watch the actual games themselves, the Jets haven't been terrible. And I think the Seahawks, with this number, they're going to be in for a surprise. Like with the Jets last week, where, man, I took the fucking Seahawks at what, 10.5, minus 10.5? Ridiculous. I should have known better. But this week, clarity straight. Gambling picks in. Seattle Seahawks criticism bitch slap in. But I believe the Seahawks can grab a win against this very feisty Jets team. So go Hawks. Now, moving on to the next game with all those fucking words just stumbled on myself. Oh my God. That's what happens when you just don't smoke. I guess that might be a thing. But hey, smoking aside, which I think the NFL will allow, right? Are they allowing it now? Pretty sure they are. But no, that might be the NBA. Confusing all that shit. Brushing all that shit aside, boys and girls. Goddamn, that was a weird tangent. The Indianapolis Colts will be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders over here in Las Vegas. And I got to think, the Indianapolis Colts win this game, covers the spread at minus 3, and the game goes under at 51.5. I got to be honest, man. This Raiders team is not that good. Oh, but the miracle against the Jets. That miracle happens to be coming from the fact that the Jets lined up, 5 fucking dudes to blitz Derek Carr? Shit completely opened up, and the defensive back, who should have had Henry Ruggs, gave Ruggs ample amounts of space for the catch, and hence Greg Williams was fired. But no matter how much you try to bloviate yourself with that shit, the Colts are a real team. I know I just praised, a bunch of fucking shit for the Jets when I'm talking about the Seahawks, but man, this Colts defense, it's a different story, baby. And I know Henry Ruggs is good. I know you got that cat, Renfro, even old man Witten doing his shit, but I gotta think the Colts defense isn't gonna be as liberal as the fucking Jets. And you're going to have a very, very, very stingy-ass game in terms of points, I believe. And, as much as I shit on Phelan Rivers, I think this team gets it done, the Colts. And, tremendous kudos to Frank Reich, who you would think if he gets an actual quarterback who can helm this shit, like, I don't know, Carson Wentz, I think things will be all right. But that's just one man's opinion. Now, moving on to the next game, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions. And, I think the Packers do win this game, of course. You own the Detroit Lions, but I think the Lions go ahead and cover the spread at plus 7.5. And I'd like the over at 55. And here's the thing. I think the Lions, as positive of a vibe as they've been having without Matt Patricia, Darrell Bevell will only do so much. And I honestly got to think that the Lions are probably going to come out with the lead very early in this game, and the Packers just spank the shit out of them. And I don't want that to happen. I don't like the Packers. But the Lions suck. They suck. That trend is going to continue because you have the same owners who don't care about your franchise. Isn't that nice? They only care about getting that fucking Thanksgiving game every year. So, isn't that nice, Lions fans? You get to just drown in mediocrity yet again. Good times for the Lions. Now, the Atlanta Falcons. definitely want to have a good time when they are going to be facing the LA Chargers, two franchises who, honestly, the word choke and heartbreak is so synonymous with their existence that you would think this game would end in a tie. But I got to tell you, I like the Falcons' odds here at -2.5. I like them to win this game. I like the over at 49. Now, Justin Herbert has been pretty fantastic throughout this season, but I don't think with that defense against the Falcons, he's not going to be too hot. And I know the Falcons haven't been, world breakers in defense, but, they got some studs out there. I mean, shout out to Grady Jarrett, man. I guess Dante Fowler hasn't really been all that prolific, but the Falcons on the offensive side, as much as I shit on Matt Ryan, I think, between Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley getting shit rolling, and obviously the boy Julio, the Falcons grab a win. And I still stand by that statement, free Julio Jones. He should go to an actual team. Despite all the criticisms and hate, I think, the Falcons grab a win, and the Chargers will just keep looking at, Anthony Lynn and say, why the fuck are you still a head coach? Shit. You might be overrated. You might be just a good coordinator. Nothing more. But 2020 won't allow for that, because if you fire a black head coach, you're a racist. Oh, boy. You opened a whole can of worms there. Who gives a fuck? I only care about the football. And the one goddamn game I feel pretty fucking confident in is this next one. The New Orleans Saints taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I actually put some money on this game. My whole thing with this game is going to be this. The Philadelphia Eagles at +7 and the over at 44. But if I had to pick the team who's going to win, the Saints. Now, you got Jalen Hurts starting officially as the quarterback for the Eagles, and I think that in itself will definitely help the Eagles cover the spread. But for the Saints, man, I don't really know what your deal is. I don't know how good you actually are. I mean, I've been calling your asses out for a good number of months at this point. And I think Taysom Hill, decent enough, but I don't think he's going to be all that impressive for the long term for this team. But for the purposes of this game, I think they grab the win, and I think there's more that you can read into about the Eagles in this game relative to the Saints, because you're having a winning fucking season again. You're probably going to get the 1 seed in the NFC, and then inevitably, lose to probably a team like the Vikings at home, which you're fucking used to at this point. So should be very interesting. And I like the Philadelphia Eagles' chance to cover the spread, but ultimately I think the Saints grab a win in this game. Now, moving on into the next game between the Washington Redskins and the San Francisco 49ers. I like the Redskins' chance to win this game. I like the spread at +3.5. I also like the over at 43.
Stop saying the Redskins.
Fuck you! It's the Washington Redskins! Deal with that shit, bitch. And you know what you also got to deal with? A good Redskins team. Now, based on record, they're not the greatest fucking team in the NFL, but hell, if you watch the actual games, this is a pretty competent team. And holy shit, man, Chase Young, what a beast. I mean, you got Terry McLaurin, an absolute stud as a receiver, and then you got Chase Young on the other end, just fucking lambasting quarterbacks all over. And I think Nick Mullen is going to have a horrendous time against Chase Young. And you would think Shanahan gets a little bamboozled by Rivera and this grimy crew. I mean, Alex Smith getting shit done this season, it's really impressive. And he definitely is going to get comeback player of the year. And can you imagine if they make it to the playoffs? Can you imagine the Washington Redskins, the Washington football team hosting a playoff game? Oh, probably against the fucking Seahawks. That would be some shit. And I am all in for the memes, dude. I mean, that's the whole thing this season with the way 2020 is, I mean, I'm fully in for the memes more than wins. It's the Seahawks. So, hey, memes are what lasts. So, I don't need to explain that to you as a Seahawks fan. I mean, we live off of a fucking meme. 1 yard line. Not how to stop hurting. Hearing that shit for years. So, yeah. Memes are forever, kids. This is why. This is exactly why. Now, next game, we got the pivotal, beautiful Sunday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. And again, another game that I put a bet in. Buffalo Bills at -2.5 and the under at 47. And yeah, the Bills are going to win this game. Why? Steelers are ass. We just saw it on Monday. They got fucking ass rammed by the Redskins, the team with no name. I've been calling out the Steelers for weeks. I mean, ever since they were probably, 6-0, 4-0? Been calling their shit out, but no one's been listening. Been saying, hey, man, wins are nice. But when you look at the actual tapes and the individual games themselves, the Steelers are very uninspiring and mediocre at best, and they luck themselves into win against bad teams. Yet, you motherfuckers sat there and said, this is the greatest team, unbeaten, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Shut the fuck up. They're none of those things. They're not even the best team in the AFC. That's the Chiefs. And you got another great team in the AFC that people are going to look over because of their mediocre performances over the last few weeks. The Buffalo Bills. They've been overall a complete team throughout the regular season, and you know damn well they're going to handle their business just like they did last season when the fucking Steelers pounded their chest and said, we're going to get shit done. And you know what I remember that game last year? Because I was in Dallas watching that fucking game. And I remember the Steelers hype was unreal right before the game, and then the Bills just wrecked their shit up. And I think the same thing's going to happen here. The hype and the bloviating is going to be nauseating at best. And here comes the Bills, making me a happy camper, getting shit done. I think the Bills grabs the win, and hopefully the Bills make me some goddamn money. Now, we move on into some Monday night football between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. It's their time, boys. It's their time. It's Cleveland's time now. The Cleveland Browns are going to grab a win. They're going to cover that spread at +1, and the over at 46.5 is going to happen. And I believe in this goddamn Browns team compared to this fucking bang average Baltimore Ravens team, which has seen the depreciation of Lamar Jackson. And I don't fucking know who in their right goddamn mind takes the Ravens after that Cowboys game. Holy hell. I'm watching that Ravens team and thinking, you're not going to make the playoffs the way you're playing right now. And if the Browns defense can just tighten the fuck up at the end and not leak out shit more than terrible Disney films, that'd be nice, right? And the offensive side, Baker Mayfield has been doing pretty well over the last few weeks. And I know a lot of people are going to just write him off because of whatever team. And there are certainly people who wrote him off even after the Titans game. But I think Baker Mayfield is going to show a lot of grit. I don't think he's going to have a perfect game, but I think he's going to show out and really show that badass attitude that I fell in love with, man. Baker just lays it down, lays his dick down and says, fuck you, I'm here, let's go. And I think you're going to see a lot of that on Monday Night Football. And you got fucking Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Powerful 1-2 punch in the running back side. So Browns with the win there on Monday Night Football. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the picks for Week 14. So let's start it off from the top. We got the LA Rams, the Tennessee Titans, the Dallas Cowboys, the Carolina Panthers, the Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs, Arizona Cardinals, Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks, Indianapolis Colts, Green Bay Packers, the Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints, Washington Redskins, the Buffalo Bills, and the Cleveland Browns. So that will do it for me. And hopefully another 80% plus would be fucking great. So there you go. Week 14. Boys and girls, follow me at the Sky Lounge on all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily content. And until next time, fuck off.